This is the Bermuda Triangle, a vast area of ocean near the coast of Florida. This triangle begins in Miami, stretches to Bermuda Island, then to Puerto Rico, and finally returns to Miami. And this triangle covers an area of 800,000 square kilometers. While passing through this area, ships and aircraft often lose contact with their base stations without warning, and they disappear into the triangle, never to be seen again. Over the past 100 years, a large number of ships and aircraft have disappeared in this region. To this day, only a few wrecks of ships and aircraft have ever been found in this area. What is this unknown force that no one has ever been able to understand? What lies within this triangle that pulls even the largest ships beneath the waves and refuses to let aircraft pass above it? What happens in this region that forces everything passing through to lose control? In 1972, a small aircraft named Bonanza Beechcraft took off from a Florida airport, carrying 2 passengers bound for Miami. The journey was nearly 500 kilometers long and was expected to take around 90 minutes to complete. That day, the weather was completely clear for miles, and the pilot had over 600 hours of flight experience. But something happened on that flight, something he could never forget. Just 20 minutes after takeoff, the pilot spotted a massive dark cloud straight ahead. He was stunned. The weather had been perfectly clear only moments ago. Where had this huge black cloud suddenly come from? What they didn't realize was that they had already entered the range of the Bermuda Triangle. Before the pilot could even react, their plane had entered the dark cloud, and turning back was no longer an option. As the plane pushed forward, the skies grew darker, and turbulence shook the aircraft violently. But fortunately, after just one terrifying minute, the plane somehow made it through the cloud, bringing everyone safely out of the storm. The pilot was overwhelmed with relief, knowing he might be the first person ever to survive the clutches of the Bermuda Triangle. He had just avoided a major disaster over the ocean. The plane was now cruising at around 11,000 feet, heading towards Miami at full speed. It had only been 25 minutes into the flight when another cloud appeared, but this one was over 20 times larger than the last. So massive, the pilot had no chance of avoiding it. There was only one option: to go through it. Having already passed through a smaller one, the pilot felt confident, maybe too confident. Without hesitation, he pushed the plane straight into the cloud, and once again, darkness. Everything outside vanished. After nearly 5 minutes inside the cloud, flashes of lightning began to explode all around them. So many, in fact, that hundreds of bolts lit up the sky every single second. The deafening sound of thunder shook the cockpit and rattled the passengers. Fear was written all over their faces. At this point, the pilot was certain they were in serious trouble. He felt they had entered the very heart of the Bermuda Triangle, the same zone where countless planes had vanished and where many lives had been lost. They had now been flying blindly through the darkness for over 25 minutes. No one knew where they were or how high they were above the ocean. And the most terrifying part? The storm clouds just wouldn't end. And even more chilling, the plane seemed to be flying on its own. Fortunately, something happened that gave the pilot a small sense of relief. Suddenly, deep within the thick clouds, a bright light appeared in the distance. It felt like life was offering them one final chance to survive. The pilot knew this could be their only way out. If he could somehow steer the plane towards that mysterious light, perhaps he could save everyone on board. But escaping wasn't going to be easy. Every time the pilot tried to move the plane towards the light, the aircraft's controls began to behave strangely. All the systems became unstable, and the compass needle started spinning wildly, as if it had lost its mind. The pilot later said, "It felt like I wasn't flying the plane anymore. Something else was in control." And after a long struggle, all 3 of them finally managed, by some miracle, to escape the cloud and make it out alive. But what they didn't know was that they were about to become part of a much greater mystery. As soon as the pilot escaped the chaos and contacted air traffic control, he was told something truly shocking. His aircraft wasn't showing up on the radar. The plane didn't even exist. And what's even more surprising, only 45 minutes had passed since takeoff, yet the plane had already landed at Miami Airport. Normally, the journey from the departure point to Miami takes at least 90 minutes. So how did they get there in just 45? The airport staff were completely baffled. They simply couldn't believe what had happened. After all, this type of plane couldn't fly faster than 290 kilometers per hour, even if someone tried. So how did it cover a 90-minute journey in half the time? Some experts suggest that the region above this part of the ocean releases an unusually high amount of methane gas. They believe this may be the cause of the massive black clouds that form in the sky. These clouds are made of air much lighter in density than normal, which could explain why not even birds, let alone planes, are able to fly through them. But what do you think? Let us know in the comments below.